Hey and welcome to the Daily Manchester United News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Marcus Rashford responds to Manchester United fan calling him the best player in the world. Marcus Rashford has responded after a Manchester United fan called him the best player in the world on Instagram. Rashford has won the Premier League and United Player of the Month award for the second month running. He scored 4 goals in 5 games last month and beat Hinacho, Bernd Leno, Emerson Royal, Manor Solomon, and Ollie Watkins for the prize. Erik Ten Hag was also recognized winning Premier League Manager of the Month for the second time this season. Rashford has won the Players' Prize 3 times already this season, in September, January, and February, equaling the all-time record. One more monthly win, and he will go beyond Mo Salah, which is a reflection on just how good he has been this season as Rashford took to Instagram to celebrate teammates such as David De Gea, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, and Diogo Dalot posted messages of congratulations, and a supporter called Rashford the world best player. But our number 10 responded in a way which shows he knows plenty more hard work lies ahead. Rashford has had a case to be the most on-form player in the world since the World Cup, where he scored 3 goals for England. If he keeps these standards up, people will start talking about him in esteemed company, but as Rashford acknowledged, he is not there yet. United bounced back impressively from Sunday's Anfield loss by beating Betis 4-1, and Rashford set the tone with his early opening goal. Rashford's goals have been so important to United progress under Ten Hag, and he will hope to be on the score sheet again versus Southampton tomorrow. Erik Ten Hag says Bruno Fernandes was brilliant in Europa League win. Manchester United enjoyed a 4-1 win over Real Betis in Thursday's Europa League clash, and Bruno Fernandes was one of many players who impressed, drawing high praise from Erik Ten Hag. The United manager lauded Fernandes' performance in Friday's pre-match press conference, saying the 28-year-old did well to confound his critics while showcasing another string in his bow by heading home from a corner. Ten Hag told ManUnited.com, I think he showed a big personality by giving this performance and leading the team, and I thought it was brilliant. He has so many skills and is now scoring with his head from a corner. Fernandes had a hand in 3 of United's 4 goals on the night. Just 5 minutes into the game, his cross from out wide was deflected into the path of Marcus Rashford, who fired it home into the roof of the net. Minutes after the restart, he fed Anthony on the right, who cut inside and curled an effort into the top corner. And just before the hour mark, the Portuguese international headed home a Luke Shaw corner from close range. Fernandes created 5 chances, had 97 touches of the ball, had 3 successful dribbles, whipped in 8 crosses with 37.5%, finding a teammate, made 3 tackles, and had 68 passes against Betis. No United player made more opportunities, had more dribbles, wiped in more crosses, or made more tackles, so it's no wonder Ten Hag was so impressed. Thursday's performance was important for Fernandes. After the criticism received from United's 7-0 defeat to Liverpool, the 28-year-old was full of confidence against Betis and will hope to pick up where he left off in Sunday's home clash with Southampton. Fernandes has made 41 appearances in all competitions this season, scoring 8 goals with 12 assists, so he is having a prolific campaign under the Dutchman. Erik Ten Hag says Wout Weghorst is intelligent despite failing to score. Wout Weghorst finally scored at Old Trafford in Manchester United's 4-1 win over Real Betis on Thursday, but the 30-year-old could have backed himself a hat-trick if he tucked away all his chances in the Europa League clash. Erik Ten Hag was full of praise for the 30-year-old's intelligence in Friday's pre-match press conference, while admitting he often fails in front of goal after getting multiple opportunities to score. He told ManUnited.com, I think he has intelligence from positions. He is a very good anticipator. He is often in the right position, then he fails, but he keeps going, so he showed a great personality and character. He could have already scored early on, but he keeps focused, keeps working, and he keeps putting himself in the right positions, and finally, he got his goal and his reward. Weghorst thought he'd scored just minutes into the game after heading home from a close range, but the goal was ruled out for offside in the 17th minute. Weghorst put a low effort wide of the post after being picked out by Luke Shaw, and after Anthony wiped a ball into the box that Weghorst could have bundled it in, the Dutch international somehow side-footed over the bar in the 26th minute. Later on, Weghorst finally got his goal, sliding home a rebounded effort from a close range. The 30-year-old has made 15 appearances in all competitions since joining on loan from Burnley, scoring 2 goals with 3 assists. Weghorst has only taken 8 shots in 7 Premier League outings this season, so it's little wonder he is struggled. He hasn't missed a game under Ten Hag, however, and against Betis, Weghorst turned over the ball 4 times, created 2 chances, and had 1 successful dribble, so the Dutchman brings more to the side than scoring goals. It's unlikely that United will sign him permanently at the end of the season, but they will be grateful for his efforts. Weghorst is tactically versatile with his high levels of industry and a selfless attitude, so it's testament to his value that Ten Hag continues to play him in every game. Marseille do not want to trigger their obligation to buy Erik Bailly. Marseille do not want to trigger their obligation to buy loanee Erik Bailly from Manchester United this summer. French outlet L'Equipe report that the League One outfit have an obligation to buy the £25 million defender if he plays a certain amount of games. They say that he would have to play 10 of the last 12 games of the league campaign to trigger that, for just over £6 million. On top of that, Marseille would need to qualify for next season's Champions League, and they sit second in the table as it stands and are on course for it. That means that the club will not play him in enough games to trigger that obligation, and they do not want to be bound to Bailly. But even if they don't trigger the obligation, they would still have the option to negotiate a transfer for Bailly as a priority over other clubs. It does not seem like United are on course to raise a huge amount of money for Bailly, but Erik ten Hag does need to clear the decks somewhat this summer. United are well stocked at centre-back, and Bailly's injury record is such that he falls into the Anthony Martial category of not being able to be relied upon. Bailly was handed a 7-game suspension for his kung fu kick in Marseille's Coupe de France win against Hires in January. That shows his loan spell has not gone entirely to plan and makes it more understandable that Marseille are not convinced by him. It remains to be seen what the future holds, but United have to get better at offloading fringe players in Ten Hag's second summer in charge. Glazers ready to sell Man United for £5 billion as bidders are invited for a presentation. The bidders are expected at Old Trafford next week for detailed presentations. Part of the presentations will outline potentially increased earning power if £1 billion infrastructure improvements are delivered. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are both in the running to complete a full takeover. However, whoever eventually buys Man United could face the prospect of having to finance a new stadium and a training ground that could cost them between £1 to £2 billion. Nevertheless, Sheikh Jassim and Ratcliffe are not expected to be deterred. Neither bidder has disclosed the value of their offer, but it's believed they will have to raise it to convince the Glazers to sell. The second stage is about to commence, and the bidders will have access to the club's financial information. They have already signed non-disclosure agreements, so details of talks will be kept confidential. Next week's presentation at Old Trafford and Carrington training ground will determine what happens next. The two bidders could still up their initial offers, but they are unlikely to overpay for Man United. The Glazers may also need to reach a compromise. However, they will not be in a hurry to sell one of the most prized assets in football. Old Trafford needs rebuilding or redeveloping, and the would-be new owners can instantly win over the fans by investing in the ground. Splashing around £1 to £2 billion on such a project is massive, but it's not too much to ask for. Man United deserve world-class infrastructure, but a takeover may need to happen before major developments can take place. Brentford boss Thomas Frank says Man United target David Raya will cost at least £40 million. Brentford manager Thomas Frank has said that the Bees will hold out for at least £40 million to part ways with Manchester United target David Raya this summer. The Spaniard has been one of the most performing goalkeepers in the English top flight, and it has been reported by Talksport that United are monitoring him. Speaking to reporters recently, Frank acknowledged that Raya is unlikely to sign a new deal unless the Bees qualify for next season's Champions League. The Bees boss added that it would take £40 million plus to prize away the fantastic keeper this summer. He said via Daily Mail, I think we need to get into the Champions League and then he will reconsider it. I love David as a keeper. I think he is fantastic, but of course, I am biased as I work with him every single day. I really believe he is one of the best in the Premier League. If someone wants to come in and buy him, then he will be very expensive. For me, it would have been to be £40 million plus. David De Gea has had an impressive season under manager Erik ten Hag. He has been superb with his reflexes in goal but continues to struggle with his distribution. The 32-year-old has recently been guilty of making wayward passes in his own half, but luckily, this has not directly contributed to the opposition finding the net. Talks are underway between United and De Gea over a new deal, but it has been reported that the extension will include a huge pay cut with bonuses. This probably suggests that United are looking for a new shot stopper. Raya would be a top class signing as he is one of the best when it comes to long passes. He has completed 8.2 passes per league game in the opposition half this term. This statistic is far superior than compatriot De Gea, who has averaged just 2.3. The 27-year-old could initially start as a backup option to De Gea before replacing him. Harry Kane will make decision on his future at the end of the season with minimum price tag set. Tottenham superstar Harry Kane is expected to make a decision on his future at the end of the season amid interest from some of Europe's biggest clubs. The striker's future is once again in question following Spurs' exit from the Champions League midweek, and that confirmed that the North London club would go another season trophyless. Kane is yet to win a medal at Tottenham, and many feels he should now leave the club in order to achieve success. Man United and Bayern München are being heavily linked with the England international, but the 29-year-old is expected to make a decision on his future once the season concludes. According to the Daily Mail, Kane is yet to make a decision on his future, but will hold talks with Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy at the end of the campaign. The striker's contract expires with the North London club in 2024, and if Spurs were to make some money off the England star, they would have to sell this summer. Tottenham will most likely be reluctant to let their biggest asset go, but if it comes to that, Levy will demand a fee of at least £100 million from the interested parties, according to the report. Man United in a front row to sign Dusan Vlahovic. Manchester United aren't struggling in the final third after scoring 2 or more goals in 21 of their last 24 games across the board, but Erik ten Hag hasn't gotten much change from his centre forwards. As a result, the Red Devils have been linked with a host of strikers, but calciomercato.it say Dusan Vlahovic might be high on their list of transfer targets. Anthony Martial is United's fourth highest scorer in the Premier League with 3 goals, despite making just 9 appearances this season, but he's missed months of the campaign due to injury. Cristiano Ronaldo had netted just once in the top flight before having his contract released, so he wasn't providing much value to United either. And with Wout Weghorst failing to score in 7 league games since joining on loan in January, it's little wonder Ten Hag is in the front row to sign the Serbian striker this summer. Vlahovic joined Juventus from Fiorentina in 2022 and has gone on to make 46 appearances in all competitions, scoring 19 goals with 6 assists. The 23-year-old has 8 goals from 16 Serie A games this season, but has failed to score in 6 of his last 7 league outings, so his future in Turin could be uncertain. Vlahovic has spent 3 months out with injury too, so he is only netted twice in Serie A since October. Juventus spent 81 million euros on the 23-year-old, so they would likely want most of that money back if they were to agree a sale. Vlahovic has 3.5 years remaining on his deal, so the old lady aren't obligated to cash in early for less. Calciomercato say Bayern München are showing an interest in the Serb too, so United have competition to procure his signature. I will be uploading daily Manchester United news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.